Hello there, beautiful sacred hearts. Welcome back to another love wisdom message for this YouTube channel. Monica Bermudez, an intuitive quantum energy healer, and what I've been channeling and feeling within my own heart to share at this time in relation to karmic lessons and whether you have to learn them through painful experience or can they be learned through love. And we're going to explore into this topic and deep dive into with an example and what to take away from it itself and what wants to come through. It is all related to the ascension, to the awakening process that we're all going through at this time as we're expanding even more, jumping into more of this higher frequency energy of the planet, of the new earth, of the new humans that we are becoming at this time. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about astrology, as I like to interweave some of the astrological events that are occurring at this time with connection to the love wisdom message that wants to come through, channel through my heart, and how it all relates to the ascension itself. So just this weekend of the January 14th is when Mercury went into its retrograde, and it is the first Mercury retrograde of the year of 2022, and it feels like a very powerful Mercury retrograde at this time. So just to explain, in case you don't know, retrograde means that when a planet is in retrograde, it means it's about going within and going into this reflective and reflection mode review of many things. And because the planet of Mercury is related to communication, that could be communication of any kind. It could be communication with ourselves, communication with others. It could be the communication with the technology itself. So if things get a little glitchy, that's sometimes due to some of the Mercury retrograde. Although this Mercury retrograde feels very intense this weekend because it is also lining up with some other planets that are in retrograde as well. We have the Venus still in retrograde, which is all related to the heart and reflecting a lot on romantic relationships of the past and maybe current ones as well, and also the plans for future romantic relationships as well, and if that's something that you are pursuing at this time. And so that is all related to the heart. And then you have the Mercury, which is all mental as well, because Mercury is associated with air, which is associated with divine intelligence. So it's all just about interlinking the two of the higher intelligence with the emotional divine heart itself. But in regards to that, there comes a lot of releasing as well, because as you are in this review and this reflection mode, you're also releasing some other layers or patterns that want to come up for your own awareness so that you're able to heal and move forward and go through with it. So if you're experiencing certain griefs at this time, it is all interlinked to all these planets being into this retrograde of stuff that wants to come up from the heart itself, and that has been also affecting your entire being of yourself and your whole body at the very cellular structure itself. And so the other planet that is in retrograde is Uranus, and that one's going to go direct in about January 19th or so. So this weekend is also still in retrograde. And so Uranus is all about the freedom planet, the planet of the future, and it also has been linked to the time and acceleration itself. But most of all, what I feel with this energy is there's a lot that wants to come out and be freed. And so what needs to be revealed, there could be surprises, it could be revelations, that are happening within yourself. It could be aha moments that you just had in this reflective moment itself. And this, is at the individual level, but is also at the very collective level that is impacting in many ways. And so with all of this combination of energies, you also have some of the Schumann resonance itself going at a high peak of frequency energy impacting the Earth's frequency also, which we are all interlinked to these frequency of energies. And so all of this, is mixed. I can see picturing it as putting it into a mixing bowl. Think of it as this magical mixing bowl for this weekend. And on top of that, you have the full moon that is about to reach its peak on January 17th, and it's a full moon in Cancer. So it's really about honoring your sensitivity and honoring your emotions. To be sensitive, it's actually a very strong aspect in you. So honoring that in you. So there's a lot of miscommunication or misperception when it comes to sensitivity. A lot of people tend to think that people are weak, but it's really the opposite. It's really your strength, but it's really something that you are being guided to embrace, because with the sensitivity comes sensitivity to certain energies, but it's using it in a certain way that is useful to others, not to be directed into a very, very victim mode energy, but using that to be in a creative energy force and uniting those two together. And so that's the whole mixing bowl of these energies for this weekend that we have right now in the mix. And I'm sure there's other planets in conjunction as well. And so the importance for me as to why I share all of this, with astrology, and why I interweave it in a lot of my love wisdom messages, is because with that comes an energy forecast to know. It's like going outside. Before you go outside, you want to know what the weather is. If it's going to be raining, you want to have your umbrella or something so that you wouldn't get wet. So the same thing would be for astrology, which is you want to know what's going on with the energy so that you know how to flow with it, how to navigate around these energies, and what to do in case something like this happens. And so a lot of the astrology itself is evolving right now, and it's becoming more intuitive, becoming more of the conduit of energies in the connection with the other planets, because we do have that ability and see all the planets and stuff in the universe, all including Mother Earth, and Earth itself is a living being. It's very much alive and it has its own soul. And so we are all interconnected in that way through the universal creative force of energy of this divine connection that we have. And it is this link within us of our higher self, our divine higher self in us, that we interlink in that way. And so all of this, is related to the message that I want to share right now about karmic lessons. Because as we are in this reflective mode, these are some of the things that we could reflect upon and review in our life, and what it is that we want to learn at this time from that. So karma is cause and effect. So it's not really negative or positive in a way. It's just like kind of contains both, but it's just balancing the two energies of itself. So in other words, if crimes were committed in a past lifetime, it will just reset itself in next lifetime. But the choice comes in at a soul level before you incarnate into a life as to what it is that you wish to receive in this lifetime, to reset or to rebalance those actions that were caused in some lifetime ago, and to just be able to rebalance that in itself so that you're not in this karmic energy for a long time. And so these are lessons to pay attention. So you don't necessarily have to learn through a painful experience. You can also learn it through a loving experience. And I'll share the two examples of the two, because I personally have experienced both in my lifetime, to see it whether it's from a painful experience or from a loving experience. So for example, let's look at romantic relationship as an example. Let's say that the universe has all these signs and symbols and everything, but they just get ignored. And so then you just jump into this marriage or relationship, and it turns out to be this very toxic thing, and it just doesn't go the way that you had imagined. So fast forward, rewinding this, fast rewind, back to the beginning, and paying attention to where you may have had those signs and those universal signs in there and why they were ignored. So in this case, of course, you also learn through the dark night of the soul, because usually when it comes to a breakup, it's a very heartbreaking experience, right? because it just leads us into this very dark night of the soul and this void of energy of, reset, where we're transitioning from a marriage or a relationship, the death of a relationship, to the beginning of something else, a relationship that is more deeper self-love of yourself, that other aspects of yourself that you didn't realize you really needed to have that awakening in itself. And so this, creates its own type of like lesson from that, an experience that, it takes a while, a long time from, painful experience. And it just depends, how long it takes you, how much you'll go through that. And, personally for me, like I experienced it in a very painful way. And I feel like for light workers, it is much deeper experience because of their sensitivity and their empathic, abilities that they have, which is also a strength in them, that, they're able to just get through and become even stronger and more powerful in that way. From a loving experience though, it didn't necessarily have to go through that painful experience. I could have just learned it by seeing some other examples, but were ignored. So for example, if a similar situation with another couple appears in your life or is being shown to you, and you could see that they embark in this journey that turns out to be very toxic. So first of all, you want to ask the universe why you're seeing this experience from someone else at this time and why it's being shown to you. And so you want to pay attention to those things that the universe shows to you. And it could be through numbers, it could be through seeing, other people going through the same experience as you, because, things happen for a reason. They don't happen by coincidence or by accident. Usually the word coincidence and accident are used because there's no understanding of how the things are all interlinked and interconnected and the reasons why they appear in the way that they do. We receive messages and guidance through many different ways. We receive messages and guidances in the external world in all different ways and in many ways. But I always bring it back into the heart and how you discern that information that you're receiving and where your guides want you to pay attention. And that's where you have to really be aware and be conscious of where your heart is navigating you into this higher intelligence and GPS on the way. So I hope that this message is understood and that it helps in some ways, understanding some of the karmic lessons and understanding that you don't necessarily have to go through a painful experience, and that you can also learn from a loving experience as well. And all of that boils down to your own heart and really tuning into it as an instrument and connecting with it even more so. And doing this as a daily practice to really tune into your own heart. So please look out for other love wisdom messages that want to come through, channeled through the heart. So subscribe to my channel for more messages coming and being posted, and some other light language transmissions as well. Short transmissions, but yet so powerful, that I'll be sharing with you. And I will be connecting with you in the next love wisdom video. So bye for now. Much love to you.